We in Iowa enjoy a rich and diverse wildlife heritage. Our white-tailed deer, ringneck pheasants, and eastern wild turkeys make us the envy of hunters across the country. The state sits along major waterfowl migration corridors. Countless shorebirds and songbirds too migrate through or nest here, providing year-round viewing opportunities. This diverse wildlife mosaic also supports jobs, business, and a booming outdoor recreation industry. Just from deer alone, over $137 million in retail sales are racked up in a year in Iowa, supporting 2,900 jobs. Sometimes, though, we get too much of a good thing. Agriculture is Iowa's economic backbone as our producers face the challenge of feeding a hungry world. In areas where wildlife numbers push above the tolerance capacity of landowners, something has to be done. That's when those landowners want to know where to go for assistance.
We had a lot of deer damage around the corn especially, very significant. We had to seek some way of lowering the deer numbers, and I guess my best resource is to give the DNR a call.
It's a farming operation that my dad owns, and he wanted to kind of eliminate some of the damage he was having on the edges, and you'd lose 10 to 12 rows right off the bat. And when you go down and you look at the beans, they'd be tapered from anywhere from ground level all the way back.
Each operator got in touch with a wildlife depredation biologist from the Department of Natural Resources. That biologist helps determine if there is significant wildlife damage.
Corn plants that were hit in the whorl stage, I'm looking at plants that were hit when they were silking, and also looking at hard corn. On trees, we're looking at browse damage, rub damage, and particularly if they've been killed by the deer. On beans, if deer are browsed it down to a certain height, that's detrimental. Once I reach the $1,000 threshold for additional lethal control, I'll offer the guy the depredation program.
And with active involvement, the depredation program gets results. This 33-acre field sits on a hill with a lot of end rows bordering a wooded ravine along the English River. It's a heavily used travel corridor for deer and raccoons.
Well, before the program, along the borders of the cornfield, we could easily be missing 12 rows. We had a lot of 230, 240 bushel corn in it, but the average for the field was 170 bushel because there was so much 50 bushel corn on the edges.
There are some adjustments that can be made to the field layout, maybe hay strips to replace those heavily hit end rows, or other agronomic alternatives. In high-dollar situations, say Christmas tree farms, orchards, or tree nurseries, producers can raise the bar, literally, by investing in higher fences or other barriers to divert deer from the trunks they damage, or the leaves, twigs, or fruit on which they browse. Repellents or alternative practices also help answer the depredation problem. With substantial deer damage, though, the most effective solution is to reduce deer numbers. And not just more hunting, but hunting with a plan.
We had meetings with several of the neighbors, and we're encouraging them to take does and harvest only larger bucks to kind of manage the herd a little bit better. And a lot of it was really teaching everybody how to work the system as far as deer management. And when everybody's on the same page doing it, it goes a lot easier.
The key, of course, is reducing the number of does. Each mature doe bred in the late fall will likely drop twins in the spring. Even young-of-the-year female fawns which are bred in Iowa will likely bear a single fawn. Reducing enough antlerless female deer keeps future populations from rising. As the landowner and the biologist develop a management plan, they determine how many does are to be targeted. Then a set number of antlerless tags are made available for sale to hunters on that property, and with permission, on adjoining land.
Goal was 45 female deer each year. First year we killed 57 does. Second year we killed 49 does. And third year we killed 21. There was fewer deer on our properties to harvest, and we were able to get the numbers back where we felt comfortable with them.
Cooperation among area landowners is important. Whitetails don't recognize property lines. Just one block of property with no hunting pressure becomes a refuge, greatly reducing the effectiveness of your management plan. Food plots might seem a little over the top to a landowner who considers his whole operation a buffet table, but a little thought and a couple target areas can lead deer into potential shooting lanes.
We've changed over the years. We're running different plots. The first couple of years we used winter wheat as a food source for them in the winter, and we were really successful in pulling does in.
And it's more than where you hunt. It's important to know who is out there.
Really, I tell most landowners they need to get pure predators, people that are willing to get out there and can kill additional does. Sometimes too many hunters can get in each other's way. What we really like is having people in there during all the established deer seasons.
And it's tough finding those depredation hunters. Out of 13,300 tags authorized in mid-October of 2008, just over 900 had been assigned. That depredation hunter works with the landowner to identify areas with high deer numbers and gets in and out without disruption.
We've been able to focus on an area. We've also, seen the results. Once you take out a doe group and harvest out all the mature does out of that group and eliminate those deer just don't move back in. You can see several years worth of benefit out of your harvest. I think it's a beneficial program that you could work with a lot of specialty groups such as your tree growers.
With fairly efficient group drives and the sheer number of hunters in Iowa's shotgun deer seasons, though, they are still the best overall deer management tool in Iowa. However, hunters often are harvesting deer that have been pushed in from a couple miles away. The depredation program emphasizes taking out the right deer.
We wanted to focus on the early season hunts to make sure we were getting the resident deer out of the woodlots that were near the agriculture fields that were taking the hardest hit.
A lot of times crops have just been harvested or they're standing crops, and when you kill deer coming in and out of those crops, you know you're killing the right deer.
Those that settle back into your fence rows and woodlots once the shooting is over. Out-of-season shooting permits are available also, which allow removal of antlered animals. Any racks, though, are handed over to the DNR, and all deer are to be recovered and processed for consumption. On the other end, Iowa's late deer seasons stretch through January and offer more days in the field after the crops are out. Deer are concentrated into less cover at a time when early hunters are encouraged to come back out again. Like anything in farming, it takes a lot of planning and hard work. Throughout it, though, the landowner calls the shots.
It isn't like the DNR is just dumping a bunch of guys off at your doorstep. You're the manager, and you really need to be a good deer manager, managing the hunters, I should say. You don't want to overpopulate any specific season too much.
After a 3-year run in the depredation program, deer numbers drop substantially here. Boyce is no longer enrolled in the program, but that doesn't mean walking away from the work he put into it. He still checks fields and woodlots. He wants to know where to focus hunting pressure this year, too. It's his maintenance mode.
We've been very happy with the program. We've been able to bring the deer numbers down to a manageable level. The crops aren't seeing the damage. You even see, less deer, running out in front of cars, and that's a good thing. Our hunting's still good. We still enjoy hunting, and we still, get to harvest a fair amount of the antlered bucks. Truly, what most deer hunters are after.
Appreciating them through the lens of your binoculars or camera, as a trophy on the wall, or straight from the freezer to the dinner table, Iowa's white-tailed deer fuel a major outdoor recreation industry and fill a well-deserved niche in our Midwest ecosystem. Iowa's landowners, hunters, and the rest of the conservation community are working together to keep wildlife depredation of all types within bounds we can work with to keep these special wildlife species in the place they deserve.